What's up, guys? Got a Z425 John Deere zero turn here. Running into some fuel issues. I believe it's the carburetor, so all it's doing, go ahead and listen. Wanting to turn over, but seems like it's not getting enough fuel. So today we are going to take off the carburetor, go through it, give it a good clean, put everything back on, and see if that does the trick. I've looked up a couple of YouTube videos on it, and either they weren't clarified exactly what I was looking for, or it skipped over the parts that I was looking for. So, hoping to make this video, walk through it a little bit more detail, and hope that it helps somebody else in the future. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off this back panel and this panel. So to do this back one, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. These are 1/2 inch bolts, so a 1/2 inch socket for those. Take that off, give us a little bit more working room. Now for this panel with the choke, ignition, and the PTO switch, you got this bolt, and there's 2 bolts there. Already took those out. They look like this, just a bolt and a nut. Both these are 1/2 inch. Already got these undone. Go ahead and take that off. Go ahead and take that off. And I'll go ahead and set you guys down, and we'll get this panel off. Alright, so what we're looking for is right here. Give myself more room by taking all this off. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take off the air filter cover, take the air filter out, take these covers off, and we're going to pop this whole thing out. So the first thing we're going to do, just take this off. That just has clips on it. Next, undo these, take the air filter cover off, go ahead and pop the air filter out, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8mm bolts that are going to come out of there. Let's go ahead and take those out, set you guys over here. Alright, now that we got this off, just take that right off. And to take this main cover off, so you got a bolt there, there, here, here, and here. These are, let me double check. These are 3/8. Now you don't have to take these all the way out. The cover just slips in behind them. So loosen those up, and you should be able to just pop that right off. Alright. So now we got a little bit more visibility into this carburetor. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take off this fuel line here. We got a vent hose back here, and then we have a bolt here, here, and one underneath on both sides. Let me see if I can see it. Right up there. So these are 3/8 as well. So let me go ahead and take all this off. and get a little bit more visibility into the carburetor. And I did already take off the bottom two. That's why it's already drooping down. This hose in the back, that just pops out, clips in right there. Next thing we're gonna do, take off this fuel line. Set you guys back down here real quick. Okay, so now the only thing we should have left on this is the choke and the throttle. So right here, how you take this off, we're going to go down to the bottom and pop it out just like that. That little L piece goes into, see if I can get it up here, goes into that plastic piece, just pops in. One thing I tried to do that took me way too long was trying to take it off up here. Didn't work. Finally figured that out, so nobody else has to go through that. Same thing down here, just for that bottom, it's a little hook. Just gonna pop that out. So let me go ahead and pop that out. Okay, now that we have that little hook popped out, we have these two wires right here. Just pull those out, and we now have everything that we need free. So let's get this over to the table, take it apart, clean it up really good, and see if that fixes our problem. Alright guys, now that we got this back to the table, I'm going to take it apart, see what we can clean up, see if this is the issue. If it's not the issue, my next guess is probably going to be the battery, just because it sounded kind of weak, but fingers crossed that it's this. Alright. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take off this back piece. We're going to do this bolt here, 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 and here. So that is a 7/16. Okay. Doesn't look too terrible from right here, but you never know what inside the jets look like. So let's take off these three screws up top, here, here, here. See if there's anything in there that we can clean. Again, doesn't look too bad in there. We can spray some carb cleaner down in there just to be sure. But for now, let's put it back on just so we don't get any junk inside. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and take the bowl off the bottom of this carburetor. So we got a screw here and here. And just a side note for everybody, there is gaskets on just about everything. You can see this gasket here. Any O-ring, we have one O-ring I believe in here. I'm not going to take off the other side just because it's not as easy as all this other stuff, but just be careful when pulling everything apart. Make sure you don't break these gaskets. I wasn't planning on replacing them, but if you were to tear it, you would have to replace that gasket. Alright, let's go ahead and take this bowl off. Turn this around. Take out this little pin. So we do have a little needle right here to come out, and then that screw there, screw on the other side. Take that off. Okay, look inside here. I can see through there. Doesn't look like anything's clogged in there. Inside the bottom of the bowl, I'll probably shoot some carburetor cleaner in there. Typically I take this off, but it should be fine. Main thing I want to look at is going to be these holes. See, there's quite a bit of them, rows of 4 down each of these. What I'm going to do is get some wire. This is just a quick tip that I have found that uses, or that I use, that works pretty good. So just normal wire, I'll break a strand of that off. I'll shove it in between each of those pretty carefully, just to knock out any junk that may be inside each of those little holes. Any jets that I can find, stick them in, kind of clean up the carburetor, and then spray everything down inside with carb cleaner, spray the outside down with carb cleaner, and get this thing cleaned up. So let's go ahead and get a piece of this wire. And basically all I'm going to do is put it through each one of these little holes. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Little wire. I'm just going to do that right there to every single hole, and I'll bring you guys back when I went through every single one of these holes. Alright guys, so I went through each of those holes, cleared them out. Next thing I'm going to do is get some carb cleaner. Got some right here. And we're going to pretty much clean out every hole and jet possible. I'm gonna go back to those 3 screws on top. We do have a couple spots in here we can clean. Try to push out any junk that we possibly can on this thing. Now again, if you wanted to, you could take this thing apart even further. This manifold here on the other side, you could take this half off and just get to the other side of this. I don't think that's necessary for what I need to do, but at least for anybody that wanted to know how to take this thing off, just some basic ways to clean it, and then I'll show you guys how to put it back on. That's the main thing that I wanted to show in this video. So we got our little needle here. That's going to go back down in that hole. Double check this. Go ahead and spray in there just to be safe. Get that pin back through. And we're going to put our cover back on. Okay, just a quick clean, quick brush down. I'll go ahead and I'll spray carb cleaner on the top of this, kind of get the whole outside good, and then we'll get it back over to the mower. So I'll see you guys over there. Alright guys, let's go ahead and we'll plug our wire back up. We will go ahead and get our choke and throttle cable hooked back up. Let me zoom in on this part here. So again, on this side, we're going to get this plastic piece. And we're going to get that L, stick it inside. Just like that. Alright, same thing on this other side with that hook. Don't know if I can do that with one hand, so let me get that on. Okay, got the hook on right here. It's easy, all you gotta do is tilt the carburetor, pop it on there, just hard to do with one hand. So now we are just going to line it back up, put in our bolts here and here. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, here's those top two going in. And then it's going to be those identical to that, just on the bottom side. Right here. Right there. So one on that, one on this. So let me get those in. Alright. Got that bottom one in over there. Just got the bottom one right here. And you can see it right through there. Okay. Go ahead and get this fuel line back on. Got this vent hose back here. Get that popped on. And the next thing we're going to do is pop that cover back on. Let's get to that. Okay, got our cover. So we're just going to slip that down. Like I said, these bolts never came out. This cover just slips inside of them. So let me go ahead and tighten all of those up, and we'll get to the next step. Got all these tightened down. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to put this cover back on, the cover that goes on top of that, air filter cover. We'll put this back piece on and then get that put back. So let me set you guys down. Let's go ahead and get that on. So this cover right here, this is going to be those 4 8mm bolts. Cover on top, just clips right on top. air filter. And the cover. Go ahead and get those screwed in. Also, one thing to mention on this one right here, for that 3/8, it is part of these, but it's tight, so you will need a wrench. Okay, so let's get that put back on. Okay, got my bolts put back on. Let's get this panel back on. That's going to be nut there, nut there, these two nuts right here. So let me get those on. Alright, just got to tighten that one down, got these on. That is back together. So with that little carb clean, let's see what she does. Give her a little choke. Alright guys, I think that'll do it. Little carb clean and she's cranking right up. So if you would guys, go ahead, like, subscribe. This is the first video on this channel. I have plenty more ideas coming, tutorials, DIYs, how-to videos. So get ready to check those out, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.